Hello, it is Monday. It is our favorite Monday meetup, and at least my favorite. My name is Araya. I'm psychic medium, energy healer, and channel and coach, and I use all those to bring people into movement forward, into healing, into getting clarity on what's sticking for them in their life, where they want to head. And so doing that, one of the things I want to talk about today, and we've talked a bit about energy before, but people don't necessarily always understand or know how to perceive energy, how to feel it, what is that like, and how as an energy healer are you able to tune into and feel different energies? What is it like to perceive angels versus dragons versus spirits that are not in body anymore, that are just hanging out in the earth planes, and to differentiate the nuances in between them of why that energy feels a specific way and how you can work with it and what do they bring. So starting with that, I know that I haven't talked before in this group or in this setting about the dragon energies. I do have a separate group where we focus on that. It's called For the Love of Dragons. We'd love to have you join us if you are experiencing dragons in your field, or just love them, or curious about them, have a fascination with them. You might get a lot of questions answered by joining that group. But going back to energies and how you perceive them, when you start tuning into your psychic intuitive gifts and getting information per se, you feel or see, you might be able to see color, you might be able to feel heat or cold, to perceive someone coming into your space that isn't in a physical body. And that's usually the first way that people perceive, is by feeling a presence. You just almost like, oh, as if you almost ran into someone. Like that happens actually when you're walking down the street. You might have sometimes felt like you were walking down a busy sidewalk, but you were the only one there. And that is actually because there are presences around in other dimensional spaces. They're not in physical bodies anymore. And that's the beginning of feeling a brush against you. So as far as other beings beyond those that have been in physical body, angelic beings, of course, are going to have a different vibration. They have a very high frequency, and typically when you start opening to your intuitive gifts, you can start to sense and differentiate between different levels of what you're feeling. And for me, it's claircognizance. So energy will come in, and it's almost like an entire thought block comes in, which is how most communication is done in the spirit realms. It's telepathic. You have an instant knowing, and there's just a whole download of information, as if a full paragraph has come into your brain all at once. When that happens, typically there's an energy signature with each being in all the different levels of the spirit realms, all the levels of the heavens. And so you will start to differentiate and know certain energy signatures as certain angels or certain beings. One of the interesting ones for me, and I do work with Metatron, who's one of the archangels, quite regularly. He's been sort of a guide and trainer for me since my opening to myself back in 2003. And that has always been really profound for me. But then it started shifting, and I started having experiences with dragon energies. And I thought, okay, so am I crazy? As you're opening to your gifts, you might be thinking, oh my goodness, I am crazy. What is this? You need someone to talk to. And there are a lot of people out there, all the light workers on the planet, having experiences. And I love that this is becoming more and more apparent to people, that there's a bigger group of us now becoming conscious to keep sharing that information, to have people to bounce it off of, to have people to share it with and say, hey, are you having this kind of experience? Because I think I'm losing it. And when someone else has had it too, it's like, oh, okay, that feels a lot better. So that's one of the things I do, is just help validate people and know that their experience is real. Because yes, I have had some crazy stuff happen in my life. And I'm going to bring the dragons in today because it's so fascinating for me to get to work with them. And they have come through in a big way for me. They're one of my key components in my work, and they've been getting really present lately. I actually put them on the back shelf for a couple of years because I was having a hard time reconciling turning towards God and angels and all these realms with dragons, and what was their role and who were they? Were they just beings impersonating and giving me this thought form of dragon, or are they actually real beings, and was I a real being? And so all these questions come in on your journey, and that's so normal to have questions about everything, because yes, people have written books about it, but it's the unknown. It's not something you can tangibly reach out and say, oh yeah, there it is. It sort of works, instead of seeing as believing, it's believing as seeing. And once you know and believe that it can exist, all of a sudden those realms can open to you. So I have had experiences with the Devic kingdoms, with the fairy realms, especially in shamanic journey work that took me into the spaces within the earth, and I had amazing opportunities to experience them and amazing experiences with them. But I don't stay in those realms. It's not my expertise. It's not my main focus, but I do know there are people having those experiences. So anyway, with the dragons, when they started coming in, I was shocked and amazed, but it was definitely like what I perceive, felt, and if I was to try and draw it, back then my sight wasn't so clear clairvoyantly that I could actually see pictures, and sometimes you don't. Sometimes you just have a knowing of what it's going to look like. And so having that visual image but without the actual picture, like just a knowing, like I could draw what was coming in and yet couldn't see it, and it was dragon, and I thought, what? That is so crazy. How can you work with dragons? What is that? And over the years, as I kept having more and more experiences with them, and then the book The Dragon Within came through, I started realizing the beauty, hi Tamara, of the energy that they bring. So when you work with angels, you expect, and you know, because of our experience here on the planet, with angels, with God, with everything to do with that, it feels heavenly, it feels loving, and you know, because you have a belief already in your head that they are benevolent beings. So when dragon energy comes in, quite often people get sort of freaked out by it. They are sort of scared of it because dragons have been given a bad rap throughout history. And so when I first started working and perceiving those energies, I just went in open-hearted. I always asked for protection, and just started having experiences. And when the book came through, and every experience I had was a vibration that was very different from the angelic realms in a certain way that I could distinguish, and yet at the same time it was as loving. It was as loving as any of the angelic realm experiences that I had come across. And in fact, I would say second to only archangels and God, that it's the highest level of unconditional love I've ever experienced in a session. When one of the dragons comes into work, whether it's directly with me in my own one-on-one, in my own personal work, or when I'm working with clients or groups, when dragons come in, it is this powerful, from the heart opening, just intense love. And that's what I want the world to start to experience with them, that it is so profound and so loving. And they are these beautiful creatures that were so misunderstood and went into hiding, and hid in places in the earth. And there's still some in the earth planes, and there's some that have gone on. Some have been released. I've had experiences where I've gone to different places on the planet, and I will tell stories about those in the For the Love of Dragons group at some point. But actually having them as if I went through a series of motions and a doorway opened, and they could actually exit then at that point, that they knew it was safe, that the doorway was open, and I could feel thousands of them going through my being and up and out, so that they were free to move on in their existence and their experiences in whatever realms they're going to. So all that to say, there are so many energies out there to open and expand what you might believe in, to see what's possible, knowing that as you call in protection, anything that is not in your highest best interest, when you do call in that protection, cannot come and harm you, but you can learn from it. And even those that you feel might be harmful, if you have this ring of protection, you can still interact and learn from them. And so that's where any of these energies that come, if you can look at them as beings, look at them as if they were a person like you, and sit and have a conversation. put out a thought block of your own desire or question and know and put it out there, and then just wait to receive that answer and or a knowing that comes in. And sometimes if you need more direct, you can ask for, okay, if it's a yes, because yes no questions start dialogues really easily when you're not getting full information. So if you're getting a yes, maybe to say, all right, I would like you to put pressure or heat on the right zone in my body for a yes, and on cold on, or heat on the left side, or heat or cold, or whichever indication would work for you. But that's a way to start that dialogue. That's a way to start having your own answers come in. But you know, one of the things I do is help people understand those experiences, help bring those experiences to people. And let's see, Juno, welcome. I think it's hard not to be able to do these things, but to control it, and harder to deal with other people's judgments in believing it, or just how powerful. Let's see if I can read the rest of your comment. Absolutely. When you're having, obviously, Juno, you're having these experiences already, and there is a lot of judgment. In fact, that was part of why I put the dragons on hold for a couple of years, because I had a lot of judgment coming from me, from different individuals in my life, calling me crazy, putting all kinds of pressure on me to just set it aside. And so that really affects your self-confidence. But when you know in your heart and can stand firm and clear, and a lot of it is the own internal wounds we have to work through about judgment and being judged, because that happened to us as kids. And so we go into that fear of really standing in our truth. So when we can actually go in and bring that up, and bring all those judgments from childhood up, and just let the pain of those be felt and ask for it to be healed, then we can move through that and stand more in our truth, and not worry about what other people do want to say about it. Because our experience is our experience, and theirs is theirs. And if they don't want to open to a beautiful experience that you're having, that's okay. That's their journey. But when you stand and know it to be your own truth, and are willing to share it, you know, as I've started really sharing the dragons in a big way, even though I've been doing healing work for 15 years, they've been a part of it all along, but now they're calling out to me to really bring it to a lot of people. And so that's where my new focus is, and helping people understand that, because they are having experiences with dragons in particular all over, and a lot of people, there's not a lot of information out there to understand it. So with you, you're saying it's hard to control it. Ask your guides to show you. Obviously you have a great gift. As I tune into you, I'm just feeling that you are super open, and you can shut it down. So you might try, this is a great way of working with energy, when you are actually receiving information, tune into which of your 7 chakras it's coming in the strongest. And you can actually imagine your chakra centers like filters on a camera, like a camera lens that opens and closes. And you can actually shut them down, and you might just try shutting down all of them to about 10%. And then open one at a time. When you know there's an energy field around that you're perceiving, try and tune in to which of the energy centers is coming in the strongest. So if you shut them all down and you open one at a time up to about 70%, and then shut it down again, then open the next one, and then shut it down again. What that's going to do for you is give you a clue to which centers are the strongest, so that when you're getting overload and you're not able to control it, or you're feeling like it, you just are overwhelmed by it, you can shut all of the other centers down to about 10%. And then the ones that are your primaries that you're getting that information through, shut it down to 40%. Open it back up to 50, maybe up to 70, depending on how much is coming along. But there are ways to learn to control it. So I hope that little tidbit helped. And that actually, great question, because you're not the only one feeling that way. There are so many people out there with psychic gifts that they haven't had any training with it. They just have gone on life thinking this is normal, but for them, but not normal for anybody else. So they have all these feelings of isolation, of feeling like so different, and they can't talk about anything that's real to them. So they feel bored because they're in these conversations or these interactions with people that they're just on the surface with, and they can't go down and really let people in and let people know who they are. So you're definitely not alone there. I know I went through some of that in my past. And just hoping that this information today gives a little insight to anyone that tunes into it. I do hope that those watching the replay too, if you have questions, I always check the comments later. So please put your question or comment down in the box, and I will absolutely address it. And I would love to invite you to join the For the Love of Dragons group, especially if dragons are part of your field. If you've had experiences or feel like you are a dragon. Some people actually experience feeling that they've been a dragon or are a dragon. And a lot of those questions can come through the group and really help you on your path of growth. And also to know, oh, thank you, Tamra. I'm feeling very much in my dragon self today. So maybe that's why my eyes are sparkling so brightly today, because I do feel that too. And I always do shine, it feels like, when I get to talk about my dragons. So they're, just responding back again. And let's see. And believe it or not, just how powerful it is. When you can stand in your truth and let go of the pain of the judgments from our childhood and move through those emotions and really just know that you're not alone and you can stand in your truth, it does shine brighter. And I get this happy internal little something in me when I get to talk about the dragons. And so maybe that's what's coming across. Tamara, thanks for sharing that. Anyway, I do want to put a shout out because obviously I work with people one-on-one. And I have time tomorrow afternoon. I'm going to make time at the end of my day around 4 o'clock for a discovery call. It's like a 20 to 25 minute call to answer any questions you have about what remote sessions are like, what kinds of things you can work through, any questions about me or my path of how I work actually with people, the costs and all that. And to see if we're a good fit. Everybody has a healer that is meant for them. And I know that there's people out there that I have soul contracts to work with. And if you've been feeling drawn to any of the work that I do, we might have a really good energy fit. And so that's one of the things we find out on a discovery call too. Are we a good fit to work together? And so I'm going to make time tomorrow afternoon around 4 o'clock my time on Pacific Standard Time. And if there's anybody else, I will make time on Wednesday as well. I think I have a Wednesday morning slot that I could squeeze a 20 to 25 minute call in. I would love to do that for you. And otherwise, just message if you're interested in a session or booking. I do have some holiday specials running right now. $100 off your first session and $200 off of a Transformation Springboard program. And what a better way to go into the new year. We've all got things that we want to kick off into the new year and start. So please take advantage of those. Hi, Kayla. Glad to see you. And otherwise, I possibly will hop on Christmas Day. I'm not sure. It is our Monday. If I do, it'll be just inspired by whatever time I feel. And mainly just to wish you guys a Merry Christmas, or just a happy holiday, whatever holiday you celebrate. And heading into that new year, I know a lot of people are taking that week off between Christmas and New Year. And take that time to get inspired. Take time for you to rest, to play, because play is one of the biggest parts in healing. I know I have ignored play way too much in my work life, trying to build a business over the years and being a mom and trying to fit it all in. Play is the one thing that is my reset button, and sometimes I have to schedule it in. So maybe you're like me, where you actually have to put it in your calendar, because if it's on the calendar, it will get done. And so schedule it in if you need to, because play is so important. And otherwise, I will see you before New Year's, definitely. Maybe not on Christmas Day. And I will be going live in the For the Love of Dragons group on Wednesday. I'm going to post that, but I have a feeling I'm going to do some Christmas gifts, live reading session for people that want to find out who their dragon is or connect to it and get more information about that. So I will post more about that in the group. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you soon. Bye.